What's up, fam? Welcome to the show, R8RBEAR family page. Your host, the Who, R8RBEAR! I just didn't want to wait that time. Alexa, hush! What's up, fam? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you all tuning in. Your host, R8RBEAR family page. Sorry we preempted yesterday. We got a little bit of a family emergency, and I have another one today. I'm not going to try to explain my life. I'm just letting you know I have another one going on right now, and I said, you know what? Still going to do the show. Okay, I already did a redo, so to speak, so already going to do the show. Okay, I just want to show this to you guys, because I didn't show it to you last week, and I intended to. So, there's my Brock Bowers. Gotta love the Brock. Then I got my Pete Carroll and the R8RBEAR, the Mind Trust. Then I got my new favorite player, the Ashton Genty, number 2. I hate his first name. Ashton. I'm gonna bully him. There's Ashton. And then second to last one, there's my guy, the Condor, Big Max. And then last but not least, your boy, and my stuffy that I like so much, my favorite teddy bear. And yeah, pretty funny, right? Good looking stuff. And I love Brock Bowers. That guy's, Jesus, that guy's gonna be it's obvious he's gonna be a Hall of Famer, but he's not gonna be like your normal Hall of Famer. He's gonna be like a great Hall of Famer. Not one of these phony ones that just gets in there on a bunch of stats and whatnot. He's gonna be real, real nice. Tradish! R8RBEAR Live! First comment, woo! MVP tonight goes to Carlos Magana! This is on YouTube, of course, so you YouTubers who be watching my YouTube, I'm not going to put that little fancy stat on the screen like a lot of these other YouTubers do that says 84% of the people who watch this video aren't actually subscribed. Although that number might be higher, but please subscribe if for no other reason. Look at this mustache. Huh? Okay, that's more than enough reason. Second place, silver medal, DPC, David Pell. I was stalling. Alive! What's up, DPC? Always there for R8RBEAR. Mount Rushmore in the house. Former long-lasting forever champion, DPC. Third place, my bronze medal goes to John the Lion. Always catching L's, but never taking losses. My guy, John the Lion. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Carlos Magana, DPC, and John the Lion. What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you all tuning in. Honorable mention goes to Troy Gill. What's up, Troy? Welcome to the show. Throw some honorable mention comment up there. You said, what's up? I'm saying, what's up back, brother? Felt like wearing the blueberry tonight. How am I doing? All right, Facebook. And the budding rivalry on Facebook does not continue, but the champion still remains the same. Carlos Boykins! What's up, Carlos? Always there for R8RBEAR, our champion, Facebook style. Second place, silver medal, Mike Hendu. Henderson! What's up, Candu? Hendu, welcome to the show, brother. Always there for R8RBEAR, my guy, Mike Henderson. Last one, third place, Chris Strong. Chris, I don't know what to say. I think I've said this about your last name before, but pretty cool when you have a name like that because the lineage goes like back to God, Like one of the first humans he made was an Armstrong and a Strong, a Johnson, you know what I mean? Those popular names that go back so far. And then you have like relatives. You're not even sure if they're your relatives, and they have the same last name. Blah blah. Honorable mention to Jim Garrison. What's up, Jim? Jim, welcome to the show. Always there for R8RBEAR. Gabriel Davis, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show. Joe Holman, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you. You are late, Carlos, and yet you won the gold. You're not late. Corinna Trujillo, what's up, love? Who reminds me to remind all of you that stars shared with the show goes directly to helping us improve things like the lighting and the computer and the graphics we use and this microphone and all that good stuff. And we also use that to pay off and help charities all over the world. And because of the suggestion of one of my viewers, we just started working with the Wounded Warrior program. And so we'll have more to tell you about that soon, because we try to go beyond just doing the little stuff. Sometimes they won't let us because they're like really established. Like, I don't think the Wounded Warrior program is going to let us do it. You know what I mean? But we've reached out to them and just basically said, we want to be bigger. We want to, do more with you. Maybe schedule events. If you have events, we'd like to be a part of them, et cetera, et cetera. And so we're just waiting for an answer back now. Ellis Irving, what's up, man? I'm doing great. I appreciate you asking. A lot of drama right now. We're going through some family stuff, but I'm always blessed. So you take the bad with the good. You know what I mean? I get so much good. I got to be willing to deal with the bad. Eric Bell, everything's good, man. Well, okay, so we've been hearing about OTAs, and OTAs have been going great. Everyone looks great. No one's getting hurt. Michael Mayer looks incredible. He looks back to himself. His energy is right. You know what I mean? Is what I mean, for those of you who don't know what I mean, I just mean that there was really never anything wrong with him other than up here. He was dealing with personal and family and friends stuff that still really hasn't come out yet. And I'll be honest with you, after doing a little reporting and a little bit of investigating, because you guys know I do that, I consider myself a reporter, I found out that whatever's going on with Michael Mayer, it's more personal than we realize. So I'm wondering if maybe he was is bipolar, maybe wasn't diagnosed, or maybe he was and he just wasn't up front with the Raiders right away, and now they know, so he's working with their medical staff, blah, blah, blah. And before you poo-poo that, try to remember there have been hundreds of examples of players who have medical issues going into the combine and their pro day and all those things, and they don't tell the NFL team because they're terrified that any medical diagnosis, that any medical diagnosis they get, no matter what it is, whether it's, no big deal and it's just a cold or something worse, there's odds that it could affect how much their contract is worth, the guaranteed money, how many years, or whether the team drafts them at all. And so I think that may have been part of this. And the reason I say that is because it just seems like if it was something rudimentary, it would have come out by now. If it was a girlfriend or a girlfriend and a miscarriage baby or something like that, that is obviously, more than enough reason to miss some time from football. If it was something like that. Okay. All right, can everybody hear me? No, they cannot. Or can they? I don't know. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. Let me get that in there again. Seems like maybe you can. If anyone can't hear me, just let me know. I think maybe my mic just went out. If it did, I don't care. As long as you guys can still hear the show, then I'll keep going. Usually I can hear myself and then I can answer your questions and whatnot. But yeah, tonight, I guess my microphone decided, or at least my earphone microphone decided to die tonight. Steven Shaw, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Will Nanoff, Crazy Squirrel in the house. I can hear you, sir. Thank you, Chris Strong. I appreciate that. This is the first season in about 5 years that I'm really looking forward to the season. We might be the sleeper team, finally. Well, I don't think we can be the sleeper team only because of Pete Carroll, because people know what Pete Carroll can do. He's been doing this both in college and the NFL now. And so with the idea of him coming to a roster that already has some talent sprinkled around it, now you let him come in and bring in some of his own people, including, arguably the most important piece you need, the quarterback. he came in and is giving us a guy that he's had success with. So I have a strong sense that this very first season is going to be what I would refer a build season. Now, not build in the sense of the rebuild. That's not what I mean. I mean build momentum. This will be the year that we start to show people there's no more doormat when you come to Las Vegas. Okay. You don't get to look at us anymore as a W when you come to Vegas. You look at us like, hey, that's a competitor. We're going to have to go in there and give them everything we got. And we have to establish that relationship or that reputation. And I think we will this season. I really do. Okay. So I want to read a little something for you. This is an article that I found. It's in SB Nation, Silver and Black Pride. It says, in the film room with Jared Hufford, could he win a backup center job? Now, Jared Hufford is an undrafted free agent that we picked up that in camp looked incredible. I mean, he looked really good. Now, he has Colton Miller kind of physique, big, tall guy. But did he have Colton's movement, his footwork? And the answer is yes, surprisingly. Now, Colton Miller had to develop that. We didn't really see that skill set all come together until about his third season. But then it came together. So he didn't come into the league with it. This kid's coming into the league with it. In fact, I have a stat to throw at you that I think you guys will absolutely love. Okay, ready? In 4 years as a starter, that's right, this guy was the starting center for his school for 4 years in a row, never lost his job. Okay? In that time, 15 pressures and 2 sacks per season. Yeah, that's it. For every game, the entire season, he only gave up 15 pressures. Now, guys, you get more than 15 plays in 1 quarter. Think about that. He's only given up 15 pressures or less in a season 4 straight years, and never gave up more than 2 sacks in any of those 4 seasons. That's some pedigree walking through the door. You know what I'm saying? So the guy can pass block. Now, as far as his run blocking skills, so we got to see what's going to happen with this guy, because he's already going to be behind not Putnam. I meant to say Dylan Parham. He's already going to be behind Dylan Parham and Will Putnam. But Will Putnam was an undrafted free agent in 2023. So he is not like some high draft pick that this new guy has to climb over. Jared Hufford is up against just another undrafted free agent, and he's younger. So he's got a real chance there to become the number 3. Because even though I think he could beat out Will Putnam, I don't think he's going to be better than Dylan Parham. And then more importantly than that, he just gives us more depth now. If we keep him as the 3, and one of our guards on the right or the left side should go down, you can click him in at guard, and it's instant progress, instant great player coming out of college. Only 15 pressures per season in 4 years, never more than 2 sacks in a single season given up. That's incredible. Do you think that Meyer's condition will affect his play on the field? Gabriel, that's yet to be seen. But you said, what do I think? Do I think it will? Personally, I don't. I don't think it will. And the only reason I say that is because I think with the new talent that we have on the roster and the way you can spread the ball around more, because you're going to have Jack Besh. I mean, Jack Besh is going to command the ball. You're going to have Brock Bowers out there. Brock Bowers is going to command the ball. Okay, and so on and so forth. This new kid, Dante Jr. something, I forget his last name. But our new wide receiver, I mean, there's a lot. We didn't even get into Michael Mayer. I just got done saying he's got his head right. He's back on the team. He seems to have mended the bridge between the Raiders front office and himself, and he looks great in camp. Now, that's not necessarily a telltale, because he always looks good. He's got that Thor body. He's always in shape, so it's hard to know if he's going to be ready. But so far, so good. Let's see. Do you think we release players for the June 1st cut or sign free agents? I would say we released for the June 1st cut, but with that in mind, though, they're looking at other free agents. I'm thinking mainly a wide receiver. And usually when your team is trying to round out its roster with a wide receiver or a running back or something like that, a skill set player, that's a good sign. It's when you're looking for defensive linemen and offensive linemen that your team's probably struggling and you're trying to get yourself out of the hole you're in or the losing that you're in. You know what I mean? If you're going after wide receivers, you're going after running backs, you're looking for finishing pieces. That's fair, but did he have this talent in Seattle? Will Nanoff, welcome to the show once again. Great profile picture. I would say this to you. He had talent in Seattle, but a lot of it had left. And I think that's why he not only had started to lose, I don't think it was about Geno as much as it was just about the overall roster depth. So with that being said, the Seattle Seahawks were no longer going to put money into the roster for Pete Carroll because they were just ready to move on from Pete Carroll and start an entirely new regime. Now, when you consider the Pete Carroll regime should have brought them 2 Super Bowls, those of you who watch enough football know why I say they should have 2, because Marshawn Lynch got screwed over. But were it not for that, he'd have given Seattle 2 Super Bowls in a matter of 4 to 5 years, 6 years. So I think what he did there was amazing, and Seattle owes him an amazing debt of gratitude. He did a whole lot more than John Gruden ever did for the Raiders, and we worship that guy. I don't personally, but Raider Nation has quite a few people that still kneel at the altar that is John Gruden, and I just don't understand that. You know what I mean? He barely had a winning record for us. All right, I'm done. I'm sorry, I started getting John Gruden bashing. What players that may be released should we be looking? What players that may be released should we be looking at? Oh, okay. John, there's going to be people released in the next few days that are going to be skill set players. And some of them are going to be old, and some of them are going to be guys that the team has just given up on. You know what I mean? And then we'll look at those guys and see who we swallow up at that point. Now, as far as cap space, I know how much cap space we have, but I can't remember now when I looked at the list and I did my research before the show today, what position we were among all teams. But I think it was, and please forgive me, I'm guessing. I can only give you these things. For example, I know we're top 10. I know that for sure. I don't know if we're top 5 though. I want to say we were like 7th, 6th most cap space remaining going into this, at 36.2 million. And, obviously that's pretty good, but, at this point, it probably doesn't matter, just because any guy that comes out that's really going to be worth max dollar, there's at least 4 or 5 teams that are ahead of us that would just be able to pay more than us. So we're not going to get, some great get if somebody falls mysteriously and everyone's got a shot at it, and we're probably not going to be the team that ends up when we just don't have enough money. But like the Niners, I know the Niners have like $96 million in dead money, something like that. So if you want to know about bad situations, the boys in yellow and gold are in the poop shoot. What's up, Bob? Welcome to the show. Always there for Raider Bear. Hi, Casey. Tim Newport, what's up, man? Raider Bear, we can't go out with the kids being basically newborn, so I tried to convince Peggy that watching your show on Saturday night counts as a date night, but I don't think... Peggy, before I say anything first, I'd like to say, Peggy, thank you for being all of this comic delight for Raider Nation. We've yet to meet you, and yet we all feel like we love you. Keep it up, Tim. Oh, man. I can't remember his name, but have you heard anything about that rugby player in training camp? Yes, Laki Taki, Joe Holman. He does have an odd name, so it's easy to forget that one. Laki Taki. Looks great. Very young. Has to work on the cardio. From what I'm hearing, he doesn't really have a lot of cardio. And when you're only in your, early 20s, coaching staffs expect you to be able to go all day. You know what I mean? So he'll be able to develop that cardio because he's so young. But from what I understand, that's going to be his biggest problem right now is getting his wind. Because he's a big dude. I mean, a big dude. I forget the exact measurables, but they're ridiculous. It's like, I don't know, it's like 6'6", 6'8", something like that, 350 pounds. I remember that he literally weighs 350 pounds. I just, his head is like, it's like a bowling ball. It's just, he's incredible. Having said that though, he feels like a commodity. It's like if the Big Show in pro wrestling, you know what I mean, were to try and become a football player. Your instant, thought is, oh, he's going to be so big. Oh, he's going to do it. Yeah, but he can't move. I mean, yeah, he can move in terms of wrestling, but as far as football skills, he would have none and he'd probably get crushed. Jeremy McCary, what's up? Welcome to the show. I don't kneel for John Gruden. I kneel for God. I love you, Mark. I appreciate that. AP said, dope lid. I appreciate the love, brother. Wait a minute. You got to see the other one, too. I love the rose. I love the rose. This is the rose. I call this one rose red or rose wine, like Chardonnay, kind of like the Chardonnay one too. And then I got the cream, turning the wrong way. I got the cream back here. I got the silver. Now this is the silver with the American flag in it. This one is the stone. They call this it's supposed to be like concrete. Pretty cool. If you look at them closely too, they're a little different. This one's a little bit lighter, and this one you can actually make out the stars and stripes in it. I don't know if you look at it kind of closely. I know my spotlight's messing with it, but there we go. There's the stars and the stripes. Yeah, pretty cool. And anyone that's a size 8, anyone that wears a size 8 lid, let me know. Just to let me know in the comments if you wear a size 8 lid. The only reason I say that is because I'm going to be giving out some surprise, wins for certain people just because I have these hats. And I don't know how many of you know me. I've been doing this for 10 years, but I give a lot to charity. I've had a lot of people give me a lot of nice things. You know what I mean? I give a lot of people a lot of nice things, a lot of my shirts. I didn't charge anyone for them. I paid for the shipping. You know what I mean? And just sent people their shirts. And so just know I never try to make money off Raider Nation. But I will have these size 8 Raider lids. And they're pretty dope. I've got a lot of different, really cool designs. It's just they're all size 8s. And this Raider fan, I forget who it was, and I apologize to him if he's listening. But he sent me these to do something fun with Raider Nation. And that's what I want to do. So we'll do that. And then I got shown the camo. I know you've probably seen this one too, but I love the camo. The dub cam. All right, and the dub camo. The snow camo. The Arctic camo. Oh, I like that, Arctic camo. Hi back, Casey. Much love to you, love. What's up, Air? Any update if Wilkins will be ready week 1? P.S. Nice hat. Appreciate that, brother. You know what? Everyone was tripping off the blueberry. I'm going back to the blueberry. I wore it to start the show. I'm digging it. Blue Burra. What I'm hearing about Wilkins is not good. That it's, obviously whenever it's a lineman, whenever you hear about foot things, it doesn't matter what doctor information you get after that. Just know whenever it's a big guy and it's foot stuff, it's always going to take forever. And it can oftentimes be career ending. Because with big man, you don't get new tires. It just doesn't work that way. Once the tires blow, that's it. See Kobe Bryant, see Shaquille O'Neal, see Kevin Durant, see, I can go on and on. You know what I mean? They've all torn their Achilles repeatedly, and they got into their legs, and it ruined their careers. Now, some of them come back. Obviously, Kevin Durant's come back, and Klay Thompson's come back. But this is specifically feet. And, when it's feet, that means all your weight distribution is going into those feet. And in a sport like football, the two just don't work well together. They're saying they will get Jamal Dean from the Bucks, defensive back. Bill, I've heard about that. I've also heard about the Jalen Ramsey stuff too. I'm not necessarily sure I agree with that. So what I'm kind of doing more this year is instead of trying to investigate some of these moves that the Raiders are doing, I'm just trying to get to where once they make one of these moves this season, I'm going to be more more invested in investigating how that individual helps the team. So at that point, I will go into more detail with Jamal Dean. As far as the player, I don't mind it. The guy can ball. Whether it works for us, we'll see. Okay, Corinna, no. Okay, Corinna, as long as you've watched my show, you're going to say my show is not a date night? I'm not a romantic. Mama Bear would beg to differ. So are they trying to play him in the middle or defensive end? From what I'm being told, the middle. He doesn't have the speed, the foot speed to necessarily play defensive end. When you play defensive end in the past, being a big guy helped. You know what I mean? You were a Reggie White type. You were, big 300 pounder. That would help. But in today's NFL, these offensive linemen weigh that much and they can move. They've got feet. So you can't weigh that and try to go up against that. You got to be a little bit more in that Max Crosby 260, 275 and be able to get that bend on your shoulders, start to run by them and then maybe pull up the brakes, hit them with a swim move or a throw, whatever the case may be. But everything I'm hearing is interior lineman, which is part of why he may not make the roster. Because if he could play defensive end, he'd have a spot, for sure. But he doesn't have the foot speed for it, so he's forced into a middle interior lineman position. Now, when we lost big John Wilkins, not John Wilkins, I can't remember his name, but when we lost our other middle interior lineman, to, I believe it was the Ravens. I can't remember exactly where he went, but that put a hole in the middle of our defense. We're going to need these guys like Hemingway and Pegas to show up and play hard. I appreciate the love, Bill. Bob Standard likes to argue with his wife colors. Bob, don't ever argue with your wife, man. It's a losing endeavor. She's got that energy. It's you're wasting your time. You love her, and no matter how long you argue about something, the longer you argue about it, it's gonna lean her way, and then she's gonna win. Like the way she's smiling at you right now and laughing at you. You just gotta go with it. I appreciate that, Bob. Me. Will Nanoff, you wear an 8? Right on. Good to know. Hang on. See, I'm writing these down. If you let me know you wear an 8, and I'll be honest with you, even if if your dad wears an 8 and you'd like to give him a gift, or your brother, wears an 8. I'm not going to say a woman, okay? Because if I say your woman has a size 8 hat, that means her head is huge, and now I'm insulting your woman, and so if she's an 8, just tell me, and I won't talk about it. Chris Strong is an 8, okay. Chris, I see you there. All right, let's see. I think that red hat can be called a Merlot. I like that, Corinna. A Merlot. I'm gonna use that. It's definitely not a red, see, because I have a red one that this one really upsets Raider Nation. This one they get really pissed. Whenever I know I'm going to be around Niner fans, I wear this one. They're like, "Hey, you're that doesn't say Niner Empire. What the hell?" And they get all butthurt about it. Yeah, it's a fitted. That's right. This ain't no cheap, okay, gas station hat, okay. Hey, I buy gas station hats. I'm just kidding. Good point. I'm not sure where he meant good point, but I take that compliment regardless. Our kids are 5 months old and we can't go out. Besides, I cooked her dinner and we watched the movie The Princess Bride this afternoon. Date night. That's like a date day and night. I'd argue that's a date day and night. Tim for the win. Sorry, this is a husband show. John Jenkins, thank you, sir. Matt Marinovich, when we lost John Jenkins, we lost a little bit. I got my Jenkins and my Wilkins mixed up there. When we lost John Jenkins, that hurt a lot. And so we're trying to replace that. With that being said, if Locky Talkie at camp shows, a skill set for the interior and to be, unmovable and to sometimes be able to advance, get through our offensive lines at practice, hey, maybe they look at him in the middle. Bear, I've been following your page a couple of minutes. I've seen Mama Bear and you on a date night. Yeah, we're nowhere in front of a computer. I can tell you that much. But I've still got Tim's back. I've still got Tim's back. Troy Gill. Troy Gill's a size 8. I got Troy. Troy, how would you want anyway? I mean, I know I already sent you a hat, but I mean, if it didn't fit right, I felt bad about that. Okay. And yeah, and Troy Gill's my witness. He knows I do that. I don't know my hat size. Well, Gabriel Davis, the easiest way to find that out is just any mall you go to where they have hats, they can kind of do that. Or you can take a measuring tape and just hold it and come right here, and then it'll give you an idea. And usually it's pretty close. You know what I mean? If it says like 8 3/3, you're an 8. You don't need the, and all that. It'd probably fit okay. With the pickup of Tank and JJ Pegas and Locky Tassi, the DT position is filled and Tyree left out. He needs to work on his get off. Matt Marinovich, I've never liked Tyree. Never. I said it when we drafted him. I said it before we drafted him. Don't like the guy. He never had any bend. He plays football like Frankenstein. And if you can think of Frankenstein in your mind, what is the one thing we all know about Frankenstein? He's stiff! Ah! And that's what he is. He's stiff. He goes in and he tries to Frankenstein. And these offensive linemen now, they're too big for that kind of thing. Carlos Rosas says, are any players standing out in OTAs? Well, we already heard a little bit about that defensive back, the kid Milton. I had his name right here. I wanted to go back and just make sure I'm saying it right if I can find it. But it was, wait a minute. No, I have it here. Okay, now, see, I wasn't saying his name right at all. As usual. It was Mello Dotson. Mello Dotson is getting a lot of praise coming out of camp. He's one of those guys that has glue for hands. If he gets an opportunity to make this roster, he will be on the field. He's that good at playing the ball, being a ball hawk, and coming down with interceptions. It's kind of the guy's skill set. James and Presetta Walker in the house. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for R8R BEAR. 7 3/6. Raider C-Dub, I got no 7 3/6. I only got 8s. But if you're 7 3/6, you might fit in one of my 8s. Is this what no, this is a snap. Let me see. That's a snap. Where's my one it's not a snap? Okay, here we go. This one's not a snap. I wear 7.5 or 7 3/8. Okay, now this is a 7 3/8. Let me show you. This is a 7.5. Okay, you can see it. It fits me pretty much perfectly. A little lint there. But this fits me perfect. You know what I mean? You notice there's no real gaps. Right here is cool, but not by your ears. So there's no gaps. It sits down real nice. So that's a 7.5. And then an 8. An 8 looks like this on me. And you'll notice it's wanting to sit over my ears a little bit. See that? Still fits. I can still wear it. Won't come off. See what I mean? Doesn't look that bad. It just looks, a little big. But if you look at it, does it really look that bad now that you see it on me for a second? You know what I mean? So if you don't mind having a little room, you know what I mean? It's, it fits. I've worn an 8 before. I don't necessarily Want to wear it only because that's not my size, but it's not that I can't wear it. You know what I mean? So I used to call this my Ferrari because I love the chrome. But yeah, the Ferrari lid. Yeah, wrap a shoelace and then measure that bad boy. That's another good one. Who do you think will be our star? Okay, well, first, it's Brock Bowers. That's period. It's Brock Bowers. Who will be... Oh, wait a minute. I think you were asking me, who do you think will be our slot? Our slot. Okay, who would be our slot receiver? I would like to see Tucker finally, come out of his shell. I feel like sometimes if a guy gets 2 or 3 seasons and he's giving you that almost there, usually it's that 3.5 to 4 year window, right when you get to year 3 or year 4, that we start to see something. I feel like we saw something last year in Tucker. He already had speed. He did not have a route tree because he did not have good footwork. He went off, he went to a camp. He came back for the 2024 season and had tremendous fit footwork, looked great. So I'm hoping he cracks the roster, takes over that 3 spot, and does some things for us there. But otherwise, even the guy we brought in late in the 7th round or 6th round, the wide receiver we brought in, Campbell, I think was his name. I mean, that's a fit. He could come right in and play that position. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not excited about that. There's a lot of guys that can play the nickel, the slot wide receiver position. I mean, we could just as easily see Tommy Mellott, the converted wide receiver quarterback combination. We're going to just play him as a wide receiver. So with his shiftiness and that speed, we could be adding a more athletic Hunter Renfrow in Tommy Mellott. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. Bill Cox, it's it's been a tough week. It's been a tough week. I don't like to lie, you know what I mean? So if it was something like horrendously terrible, I would just say, hey, it's been a tough week. It's been a tough week. She's had a tough week. I've been here for her as always, but I've been having that tough week right along with her, but we're doing good. Raiders Rebel at Raiders Unleashed. What's up, man? Welcome to the show. All nation love. Al Guffey wears an 8. Okay, let me get Al here. Or does that say AI? Is that AI Guffey or Al Guffey? I'm sure it's Al. Al Guffey. Not enough Al's anymore. It's a lost name. You know what I mean? With over time, moms and dads just stopped naming their dad Al. I don't know what that's about. And don't feel bad, Al. I have one of those dead names too. My middle name is Oscar. You don't hear anybody say that anymore. It sounds like you're vomiting, Oscar. You all right? Daniel Carlson is down to his final year in his contract. A lot of conversation about whether or not he's going to get a new contract. No, there isn't really. No. There's no one's talking about that. No one cares. I mean, you want to have a good kicker, but no one cares. They're going to pay him, though. They're going to pay him. Just for everyone who's wondering, they're going to pay him. It's just a matter of when. And then when you're wondering why, like Jalen Ramsey and other older defensive backs and things like that we, like Stephon Gilmore, are we looking at them? How come it's not in the news? Blah, blah. Because there are other teams looking at them, but more importantly, whenever it's a veteran player of that level, that he's in his 6th, 5th, 6th, 8th season, whatever the case may be, those guys need more time to move, to rearrange things, kids out of school, get their wife out of the organization they're in, sell the home they're at, sell the boat, whatever the case may be. Figure out the schools where they're moving. They need more time. Whereas with free agents or guys that have only been in the league for a year or two, you trade them all over the place. You don't care, but these guys that are kind of established that have made monster contracts, they bought mansions and stuff, you know what I mean? And so they've got to figure all that out. I know our O-line was a point of concern at first, but do you think linebacker or defensive back is more of a concern at the moment? Michael Puriboy! Okay, Michael, first, I think our daughters are almost like exactly the same. I really do. Just like shyness level and just really just sweetheart angels, you know what I mean? You're the only guy I feel like could relate to me in that. Everyone else has normal daughters, you know what I mean? That have a certain amount of wild in them and, that kind of thing. No, not ours. My daughter's as wild as a ladybug. All right, now moving forward. The upgrades and the depth and the work we've put on the offensive and defensive line shows. We are no longer a team that's willing to accept going into the season with exposure or with problems on a defensive or offensive line. We're not playing like that anymore. And it's because we've got Pete Carroll. And Pete Carroll goes back far enough. If you really look at every team that Pete Carroll's coached, it's always had guys on both sides of the line that you went, hey, okay. They got something working over there. Now, in truth, if you look back, his run with the Legion of Boom, his offensive lines were actually not very good. But his offensive lineman was our former offensive lineman who he actually fired at one point because he was a bum. And then he went to Seattle and he actually had it written into his contract that he gets to choose his offensive lineman. And Pete Carroll didn't like that, but the owner of the Seattle Seahawks was okay with it and allowed him to do it, and it destroyed the team. Well, it didn't destroy the team. They won one Super Bowl. But everything prior to that and everything after that, they just always had shaky offensive line play. And the only thing that saved that was the movement of their quarterback. Had they not had Russell Wilson, they wouldn't have won anything, let alone a Super Bowl and almost two. All right, guys, I'm going to shut this down just a little bit early tonight. Got to pick up the middle daughter from work tonight. Schedule's changed just a little bit. That's what messed with me last night, but I was going to be able to do my show tonight. Now I'm just going to have to get going because I have to be there at 9:30, and I have to get out before 9 to get there without driving at 100 miles an hour. And of course, I never do that. I don't. Alexa, resume. Shout out to our armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, National Guard, Space Force, for all you do. The energy and love of this show is dedicated to your sacrifice, active and veteran. Much love. Remember, subscribe if you can. We appreciate it. YouTube and on Facebook, it's just $5 a month. If you can, subscribe. If you can't, don't. And you can cancel it anytime. I love you guys. Much love. See you soon. R8RBEAR family page. Peace. No, more peace.